Welcome back to another deep dive. And I actually want to start today by asking you to just look down at the shirt you're wearing right now.
Yeah, just take a second and look at it.
Right, because right now that shirt is, well, it's likely just passive material. It's essentially dead weight.
Just hanging there.
Exactly. I mean, you might like the color, and obviously it's covering your torso, but fundamentally, your wardrobe is lazy.
It really is. It's doing the bare minimum.
Meanwhile, the rest of the technology in your life is working overtime, right? Your phone, your smartwatch, they're constantly keeping you connected and productive, but your clothes just sit there.
They haven't really evolved in hundreds of years, functionally speaking.
Right. So we're pulling from a recent report today. It's titled Fabric of the Future, The Rise of Invisible Nanotech. And we're looking at some really emerging research coming out of the University of Georgia.
Some truly wild stuff.
It is. They're looking at turning everyday textiles into these active power-generating ecosystems. So our mission today is to figure out how the actual fibers you wear every day are evolving to, do some heavy lifting.
Yeah, to put those lazy clothes to work.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because when we read the phrase magic fabric in the source material, I mean, it sounds like a parlor trick.
It sounds like sci-fi.
Totally. But this is grounded in material science happening right now. At the core of this University of Georgia research is a class of materials known as MXene.
MXenes, yeah.
And to really grasp what's happening here, we have to kind of abandon our current mental model of what wearable technology even is.
Right, because when people hear wearable tech in clothing, they picture something clunky.
Yeah, like taking a standard lithium-ion battery and clumsily sewing it into the lining of your winter jacket.
Exactly. If you sew a battery into a jacket, you just have a jacket with a bulky, heavy object hidden inside it. That's not what this is.
So what is it?
Well, to understand the leap these researchers are making, we have to look at the specific mechanics of these MXenes.
Okay.
They're two-dimensional materials. And when physicists say two-dimensional, they mean these structures are engineered at the literal molecular level.
So extremely small.
Unimaginably small. Imagine taking a highly conductive battery material, right? And you slice it so microscopically thin that it's essentially just a single layer of atoms.
Wow.
Yeah, and because it is that thin, it doesn't behave like a solid block of metal anymore. It entirely changes its physical properties.
So it behaves more like, what, an invisible dye or ink?
That is a perfect way to visualize it. The University of Georgia team utilizes these 2D MXenes as a coating. They actually wrap around the microscopic grooves and the contours of individual cotton or synthetic fibers.
But it's not a separate piece inside the clothing.
Right. The structural integrity of the fabric itself acts as the scaffold for the energy storage system. The shirt doesn't contain a battery.
The shirt is the battery.
The shirt is the battery.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which sounds brilliant on paper. But, I mean, my immediate thought goes to the physics of energy storage here.
Sure.
If my shorts are actively absorbing energy and holding an electrical charge, aren't they going to heat up?
It's a natural thing to wonder about.
Like if I'm out for a run in these battery shorts, am I essentially running in a wearable toaster? How do the researchers prevent the fabric from, burning the wearer?
Yeah, that's a totally logical concern, especially when you consider how hot a smartphone gets when it's working hard or charging.
Mine gets burning hot sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. But the thermal dynamics at the nanoscale operate very differently.
How so?
Well, because the MXenes are distributed as an atomic-level coating across thousands and thousands of individual threads, you don't have that dense, concentrated block of reactive material like you do in a phone battery.
Oh, I see. It's spread out.
Right. The sheer surface area of the woven fabric allows for immediate and constant thermal dissipation. The heat just disperses through the garment and right into the surrounding air.
Just like normal body heat does.
Precisely. You wouldn't feel any artificial warmth from the energy storage process itself at all.
That makes total sense. The surface area is the key to keeping it cool.
Absolutely.
And the way this fabric actually gets its juice, that's where the science really feels like magic to me.
What's fascinating here is the mechanism of energy generation.
Yeah, break that down.
So the source report outlines how the fabric utilizes ambient solar harvesting.
Ambient solar harvesting.
Right, because the MXenes coat the fibers that make up the outer surface of your clothing. Any exposure to light allows the material to actively draw in and store energy throughout the day.
Any light at all.
Any light. You don't plug your pants into a wall outlet. You just exist.
You just wear them.
Exactly. You walk outside or you sit near a sunny window in your office, and your clothing quietly pulls power from the environment, and it stores it directly within its own threads.
Okay, let's ground this in a scenario for everyone listening. Picture yourself out for a long run on a Saturday afternoon. You're a few miles away from home, you're listening to a deep dive like this one, and you look down at your phone.
And you see it.
You see that dreaded 1% battery warning.
The absolute worst feeling.
It really is. In our current reality, that initiates a cascade of mild panic.
Oh, yeah.
You're about to lose your music, your route tracking is going to stop, and most importantly, you lose your emergency lifeline if something happens.
Right.
But with this tech, that anxiety vanishes. You simply take a tiny charging cable and you plug your phone directly into a subtle little port on your running shorts.
Because those shorts have been soaking up the sun's rays for your entire run.
Exactly. They passively generated and stored power the whole time you were outside, and now they just transfer that charge right into your device. You've essentially become a walking solar panel.
It's incredible. Think about how much mental energy we expend just managing our device batteries every single day.
Oh, it's exhausting.
We structure our movements in airports around finding wall outlets.
Sitting on the floor next to a trash can just to plug in.
We dim our screens to ration power. We carry power banks. But by turning the surface area of the human body into a mobile self-replenishing power grid, we reclaim all that cognitive load.
We don't have to think about it anymore.
Right. It leverages an activity you are already doing anyway, wearing clothes, and it extracts massive utility from it.
But anytime we merge electronics with textiles, I have to bring up laundry day.
Yes. The washing machine.
Because if I accidentally leave a pair of wireless earbuds in my pocket and run them through the wash, they are completely destroyed.
Oh, the spin cycle shows no mercy.
None at all. So tossing advanced solar harvesting battery shorts into a washing machine, that sounds like a recipe for a blown-out appliance and a ruined, very expensive wardrobe.
It sounds like a disaster, yeah. But the durability factor is exactly why the distinction between a traditional wearable device and the specific invisible nanotech matters so much.
Okay.
Think of current wearables like a sticker placed on a shirt.
Like an iron-on patch.
Exactly. Eventually, the water, the detergent, the brutal agitation of a wash cycle, it will peel that sticker right off. But MXenes are bonded to the fibers at the molecular level.
Right. Going back to your earlier analogy about the dye.
Yes. It is quite literally like the dye used to color the threads. You can wash a blue cotton shirt 100 times and it stays blue.
Because the dye has fundamentally altered the thread itself.
Exactly. The nanotech endures the spin cycle because it has become part of the fabric's intrinsic nature. It's not sitting on top of the fabric, it is the fabric.
That's wild.
The researchers emphasize that the material maintains its conductive and energy harvesting properties through standard washing and drying.
So you just throw it in the dryer too?
Yeah. If it couldn't survive a normal washing machine, it would just remain a laboratory novelty. It could never be a viable consumer product.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because charging a smartphone is a great convenience feature.
It's a very cool party trick.
It's a brilliant consumer application for sure. But the report highlights a secondary application for this technology that shifts the conversation entirely. We are moving from mere convenience straight into the medical field.
Right.
We're exploring a concept the source dubs the doctor in your pajamas.
This is where the tech becomes truly life-changing. Because when a piece of fabric is capable of storing power and conducting these microcurrents of electricity, it can be engineered to act as a highly sensitive biometric sensor.
And clothing is basically in constant, intimate contact with your skin.
Always. That contact provides an unbroken physical medium for continuous health monitoring. The University of Georgia research points toward fabric that monitors physiological data like blood pressure and heart rate in real time.
I want to pause on that for a second. Because my current smartwatch tracks my heart rate.
Sure.
It buzzes and tells me to stand up every hour. But a smartwatch is intermittent. It takes snapshots of my health.
Right. It's not a constant stream.
And if you think about the current clinical experience, we rely almost entirely on snapshots. You go to a doctor for an annual physical, they wrap the blood pressure cuff around your arm, and they take your reading at that exact minute.
Just 1 minute out of the whole year.
Exactly. But human bodies are complex, dynamic systems.
Very dynamic.
If I drink a double espresso and then get stuck in awful traffic on the way to the clinic, my blood pressure reading is going to look terrifying.
Yeah, we actually call that white coat syndrome. People get stressed just being at the doctor's office, and it skews the results.
So the snapshot is inherently flawed.
It is. The clinical value of continuous passive data collection is absolutely staggering. A snapshot at a clinic provides a single data point, but continuous monitoring provides a trend line.
A full picture.
Right. Cardiovascular issues or sudden medical anomalies are frequently preceded by subtle, tiny fluctuations in blood pressure or heart rhythm.
Things you wouldn't even feel.
Exactly. These microscopic shifts go totally unnoticed because we are not hooked up to clinical monitors in our daily lives. Your pajamas, however, capture your true baseline.
Because you're relaxed.
They track your vitals while you are in a state of deep rest, unaffected by stress or caffeine or traffic. They monitor the subtle changes over days, weeks, and months, establishing this incredibly comprehensive physiological profile.
But wait, if my clothing is constantly running diagnostic checks on my blood pressure and heart rate, isn't that a massive drain on this fabric battery?
You would think so.
Like, are we going to have enough solar juice to power continuous real-time biometric scanning? Especially at night when there's zero sun and I'm asleep in bed.
That's a great question, but it comes down to power efficiency at the nanoscale.
Okay.
Biometric sensors engineered from these 2D materials require only fractions of a microwatt to operate.
Fractions of a microwatt, that's nothing.
The energy draw is minuscule. The ambient light harvesting your clothing performs during the day easily outpaces the draw of the sensors.
So it banks the power.
Exactly. The fabric stores enough surplus energy to easily maintain that continuous monitoring loop all the way through the night. The actual data collection is an incredibly low-power process.
Which leads to the ultimate hypothetical presented in the report.
Yes.
The idea that this technology could actively intervene in a crisis. The source posits this scenario where you are at home, asleep in your bed, and if your vitals crash, perhaps you have a severe drop in heart rate or a dangerous sudden spike in blood pressure, your pajamas could theoretically bypass you entirely and call an ambulance.
It's a profound thought.
Your loungewear could recognize a catastrophic medical event and dispatch emergency services before you even wake up to realize something is wrong.
Just sit with the mechanics of that for a moment.
Your clothing acting as a vigilant medical guardian. It's wild.
It completely rewrites the concept of a safety net. You know, in emergency medicine, time is the ultimate metric.
Every second counts.
We often talk about the golden hour, that critical window of time following a medical emergency where intervention has the absolute highest probability of saving a life.
Right.
Currently, the biggest bottleneck in that golden hour is the human element.
Because someone actually has to make the call.
Exactly. Someone has to realize they are in danger, locate a phone, dial for help, and explain the situation. For the elderly, for individuals with severe chronic conditions, or even for an otherwise healthy person who just experiences a sudden cardiac event in their sleep, that barrier can be insurmountable.
You can't call for help if you're unconscious.
Right.
But the pajamas remove the barrier. They completely remove the human bottleneck from the emergency response chain.
Precisely. The ability of an everyday garment to detect a life-threatening anomaly and autonomously trigger a response shifts the very nature of technology.
It does.
It transitions our tools from things we actively command to an environment that passively cares for us.
If we step back and really look at the trajectory we are on, that transition feels like a distinct, major marker in human history.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we are witnessing the twilight of traditional wearables and the dawn of an entirely new paradigm. Industry experts categorize this as invisibles.
Invisibles.
Yeah. Consider the lineage of personal computing. We started with the desktop computer, right? A massive, heavy machine sitting in a specific room.
You had to physically go to the desk to access the digital world.
Exactly. Then the technology shrank into the smartphone. The digital world was suddenly in our pockets, available instantly, but it still required us to physically pull a device out of our pocket and engage with a glowing rectangle.
And then we moved to wearables, the smartwatches, the fitness rings. The technology moved directly onto our physical bodies.
Yes, but wearables still demand our attention.
They really do.
They are fundamentally separate from us. You have to remember to charge your smartwatch every night.
You have to remember to put it on your wrist in the morning.
You have to tap the little glass screen to log a workout.
And they constantly nag us. My wrist buzzes when I get an email. It buzzes when I hit a step goal. It requires a constant baseline level of cognitive load just to maintain the device.
The friction is constant.
You are always intimately aware that you are wearing a computer. But invisibles change the mechanics of that relationship.
Invisibles are defined by their absolute lack of friction. It is technology that you do not see, feel, or manage in any way.
It's just there.
It is woven so seamlessly into the fabric of everyday life, literally in the case of these MXene-coated textiles, that it requires zero conscious effort from the user.
You don't put on smart pajamas. You just put on pajamas.
Exactly. You don't consciously decide to initiate a solar charge for your dying phone. You just put your phone in your pocket and walk outside.
The technology vanishes into the background.
It does all the heavy lifting, the complex biometric analysis, the continuous energy harvesting, without ever demanding a single sliver of your attention.
So what does this all mean? When we trace the path from the clunky, demanding gadgets of today to the silent support systems of tomorrow, it points toward a future where our relationship with technology becomes incredibly intimate, but paradoxically, totally unnoticed.
We're finally getting our brain space back.
Yes, you will be hyper-connected, your health will be continuously monitored, and your devices will be perpetually powered, but you won't actually feel like you are using technology at all.
It is the ultimate realization of ubiquitous computing. The pioneer technologists of the 20th century, they theorized that technology reaches its highest form, not when it is the center of our attention, but when it completely fades from our awareness.
Like electricity.
Perfect example. Think about how we view indoor plumbing or the electrical grid. We don't stand around marveling at the copper wires on the walls when we flip a light switch.
We just expect the light to turn on.
The infrastructure is invisible. And we are now pushing that exact level of invisible infrastructure directly onto the surface of our own bodies. The digital and the physical are dissolving into a single seamless experience.
It has been a seriously expansive journey today. I mean, we started by looking at a lazy cotton shirt and ended up exploring a near future where your wardrobe functions as an advanced invisible ecosystem.
It's a huge leap.
We broke down the University of Georgia research on MXenes, discovering how 2D nanotechnology coats individual fibers to create fabrics that actively harvest solar radiation,
Transforming us into walking power grids.
We examined the physics of why those fabrics won't burn you and why the molecular bond of the nanotech allows it to survive the brutal agitation of a normal washing machine.
Surviving the spin cycle is key.
Definitely. We explored the leap from simple consumer convenience to clinical innovation with the doctor in your pajamas, looking at how continuous passive tracking of blood pressure and heart rate provides a true, uncorrupted physiological baseline.
Getting rid of that white coat syndrome.
And we discussed the profound implications of a garment that can recognize a crashing pulse and autonomously call an ambulance, entirely removing the human bottleneck from emergency medicine.
Saving lives in that golden hour.
And finally, we mapped the shift from demanding, friction-heavy wearables to frictionless invisibles. It is a stunning look at what the material world is preparing to do for us.
It certainly is. And as we consider this integration of frictionless nanotechnology into our daily routines, this raises an important question.
I am ready for it.
If our clothes are continuously harvesting energy, processing complex health data, and tracking our most intimate vital signs with clinical precision, without us ever even noticing, at what point will our wardrobe know more about our physical state than we do?
Oh, wow.
Right. Humans are accustomed to relying on internal biological cues. We feel lethargic, we feel a racing pulse, we sense that a cold is coming on. But in a future where your lazy, everyday clothes become your most vigilant, data-driven caretakers, how will that alter your relationship with your own body?
Will we even listen to our bodies anymore?
Exactly. Will you continue to trust your own physical intuition, or will you defer entirely to the invisible doctor woven into your sweater?
That is a profound thought to chew on the next time you are folding your laundry. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you walk away looking at the world and the clothes on your back a little bit differently today. We will catch you next time.